he can't stop even if he wanted to, by the way. This little fella has no choice. He has to wave. He waves or he gets destroyed. Hello. I'm gonna teach you how to animate things in Roblox Studio. So let's get into that. So the first thing I'm gonna show you how to do is actually insert a character to animate. So at the top, there's avatar. Click that. Click rig builder. And now you have a bunch of like settings. I'm gonna choose R6. I'm gonna choose masculine. And I'm gonna choose block avatar. So now we have a little blocky fella. Now that you have your blocky fella, you can animate him. So in the top, still in the avatar tab, click animation editor. And then you can click on him. You'll be able to name your animation. You can name it whatever. I'm just gonna do a tutorial. And press create. So you'll see a little grid pop up, and that's how you know you're good to go. So say we wanted to make this little guy wave. We'll notice that, hey, instead of it highlighting the entire body, I can highlight individual limbs now. And when you click on those body parts, you'll see that they pivot as if they had like a shoulder, or like they were connected to the torso. It's just a way better way of moving things than like if you were inside of just the workspace. You know, they normally don't move like this. So let's make this little guy wave. In the bottom left, you'll see the name of whatever your rig is, and you'll see a plus icon. So we'll just press that, and we'll do add all body. Now, I'm going to try to explain animation in a way where you can understand it. I'm not sure if you've ever animated before, but if you haven't, animation is pretty simple. So there's this thing called keyframes. So if we go to the left arm, and we click on the timeline, by the way, this is called the timeline, you can add a keyframe here. So if you press add keyframe here, you'll see at 0 there's a keyframe. There's this little diamond shaped thing. And if we go to the halfway point, and then move the arm like this, you'll see another keyframe was created. If we go a little bit further and we bend it a little more, you'll see there's another keyframe. Basically, these are movements. So if we go to the beginning and you press space or you press this little play button, you'll see it moves. It moves to wherever the keyframe's position was. So if we go and copy this first keyframe and put it at the end, you'll see that the arm goes up, does a weird thing, and then goes back down. Basically, the keyframes are storing the positions of the arm. So the arm is here in this keyframe, the arm's here in this keyframe, and it's here in this keyframe. So over the span of less than a second, the arm will do a little weird motion, and that's our animation. It's basically that simple. Now, you know, games don't really have animations that look this bad, hopefully. So I'll try to teach you how to make them look a little smoother. Let's delete those two keyframes. Let's go back to the beginning. So now it's your turn. Let's animate this guy making him, you know, wave. So we'll grab the arm, and there's already a keyframe here. If there's not, you can just right click, add keyframe here. Let's go to about 0.13. We'll move the arm up like this. You probably notice that you can only rotate the arm. If you press R, you can move the position now too. So we'll just move it up a little bit. And now we have an animation of the arm raising. Alright, now we just need to make it go side to side like it's a wave. So we'll go a little bit ahead. We'll press R to get back to rotation. And we'll just do this. We'll skip a few frames and we'll do it again. Skip a few frames and we'll do it again. So we lift the arm and he waves. It's not a good animation, but hey, you animated. We'll just copy the left arm keyframe from the beginning and we'll paste it at the end. So, we'll paste it at the end. So the animation starts with the arms down and ends with the arms down. So we'll do Control C, Control V. So he'll wave, he'll put his arm back down. Very simple animation, but now I think you're starting to get the gist of it, hopefully. Now, if you want to change how long the animation is, because you see we only have 1 second, that's pretty easy. So the first number right here is where you're at in the timeline. So as you drag it, you see that changes. And the second one is how long the timeline is. So if we change that from a 1 to a 2, our animation is now twice as long. So if we want to make him wave for like an uncomfortable amount of time, we just take this end keyframe, put it over here, and we'll just copy all these frames. So we'll just Control C, we'll go a little bit in between, Control V. Yeah, you'll see that his little wave is now uncomfortable. He does it way too much, he's happy, and his arm shoots back down. So we'll just probably delete this to give it a more smoother like down animation. The distance between the keyframes affects how fast it will be. So if I delete every other keyframe, you'll have an uncomfortably slow animation. And if I just have one up in the middle and then his arm go back down, you'll just see it's a slow, like, I don't know what that is. He did like a rave or something. But yeah, that's kind of how keyframes work. But there's also a cool thing you can do to make them look nicer. So you see how that goes up and down. It's just like a line. There's no like, oh, it's going up a little bit faster, it's going up a little, I don't know. It just doesn't change speeds. It's a constant speed. You can actually change that. So if I were to highlight this keyframe and I right clicked it, you'll see something called easing style and easing direction. So like, I did a tutorial about tweening. It's basically the same. Say we did cubic and we did in out. You'll see that the animation will start off slow, it will speed up in the middle, and it will slow down when it reaches this keyframe. So you'll see like this. It's a little bit smoother. And say we want the arm to fall down, we can go here. We can highlight this one. We could do cubic again, easing direction, but this time we're gonna do in. So it's gonna go in fast, but like, you see how it fades in here? Like it starts off slow and it speeds up. Well, this is just in. So it's going to start off slow, and it's going to, when it speeds up, it's going to stay that speed. So like the arm's going to fall down like this. And it looks like it's a bit more easy to see when you shrink the amount of frames in between. Make it a little bit faster. You can see it just falls down. If you were to change this in, then out, you'll see that it starts off fast and slows down near the end. So if we give it more space, it's a lot smoother. This is what it looked like before. So if I go in here and change it back to linear, you can see that that's what it looked like before. And this is what it looks like after you ease the frames. I don't know, there's a lot you could do with easing styles, and there's a couple easing styles. Easing direction, that stays the same for basically all of them. In, we'll have it go in slowly, but get faster. Out, we'll have it start off fast, but get slower. And out's a mixture of the two. Then you have a few like styles. So I don't know, if we chose elastic on this keyframe, you'll see that the arm, like, it overshoots. Like, there's no keyframe to make it go back here, but because it's like a rubber band, it shoots there like that. And if you were to change it to, like, in out, it would look like his arm is spazzing. Like, I don't know. It's just goofy. I recommend you mess with these. There's no, like, set way to do it. So yeah, just experiment with these. See which you like the most. I usually use cubic for my animations. But yeah, that's basically like, that's a simple explanation of keyframes and easing styles. So using what you just learned, let's make them wave properly this time. So we have our first keyframe already. We're going to skip ahead. We're going to move that arm up. And don't forget you press R to switch between position and rotation. We'll make it move a bit at the top. Like this. Actually, we could just copy this frame. We'll copy the first one and paste it after. So like, we already have our little wave set. And we'll just copy these two. Paste them a little bit. And now we have a janky wave. Low effort, janky wave. But let's make it look a little better. So when you play it, this little guy waves. Okay. And we cannot forget our frame at the end to put the arm back down. Put it at the 2-second mark. Why is there a keyframe for the head? Let's get that out of here. Alright, we'll just wave, arm goes back down. So let's use our easing styles. I want to make the arm go up kind of smoothly, so we'll just do cubic. We'll do in out, and when you play it, arm goes up. And you know what, I'm just going to highlight all of these, and I'm going to just switch them to cubic and out. So let's see how our wave looks. It's not bad, but it's nothing special. You know, like these animations, they don't have any, like, I don't know, just highlighted everything, you changed it. Nothing special about it. If you wanted to, you could, like, out, in. So, like, you'll do this. Here, we'll do the out, in. Let's see what that looks like. It's like a bounce. It looks janky. But yeah, let me just undo a little bit of that. There we go. That's a simple way to animate. Now, you have your wave animation. It's nothing special, but you have it. Now, how do I apply this character? Well, first, we have to export it. Before that, I have to explain a few things. So, if you click these three dots, you'll see there's save, save as, import, publish to Roblox, create new, and set animation priority. There's also this one called optimize keyframes, but basically what that one does is it will just delete unused keyframes. So if I add a bunch of keyframes in here, like, oh, these are great keyframes, they don't do anything. If I press optimize keyframes, you'll see that all those frames that didn't do anything, oh, you can actually slide it. All those frames that didn't do anything are now gone. All the useless frames get removed. Or at least most of them, because, you know, these ones aren't being used. But yeah, that's what optimize keyframes does. And then there's set animation priority. So there's core, idle, movement, and there's a bunch of actions. And that probably sounds a little confusing, or at least looks confusing. It used to be for me. But the best way to think about this is, you know how your animation character has an idle, walk animation, jump animation, stuff like that. Imagine this guy had like a tail for some reason. That'd be a core animation. Core is like idle, except it's even lower priority than idle. So the idle animation always comes before a core animation from my information. So if this guy had a tail and it was constantly swaying and moving, you set the priority to be core. Idle, that's pretty simple. You know how your little character bounces up and down when he stands still? That's an idle animation. Movement is everything like walking, running, jumping, stuff like that. In action, I'd use action for things like tools or attacks. Say you punch somebody and you want to make that animation, or you make a punch animation, you'd use an action. So that's basically how the priority works. So if we wanted to export this, we'd want it to override everything. So I'm going to pick action. So instead of your priority, choose action and then go here. Now, if you want your animation to loop, you can press this little button right here and now the animation will keep playing. But since we only want to wave once, we are just going to keep that unlooped. Now let's go here. You can press publish to Roblox. And now you can save your animation. Name it whatever you want to name it. Make sure it's animation. And press save. Now you'll get a little itty bitty link and another link for configuring that animation in case you want to make it available for people to download. Just click this. And when the link pops up, make sure you copy the ID, which is going to be these numbers, and save that for later. Now that we did this, I'm going to explain imports. If you wanted to import another Roblox animation, you could use this. And if you wanted to import a Blender animation, you could use this. So say you, and like, you know how Saitama Battlegrounds have those really cool animations? I'm pretty sure they make those in Blender. Unless we have some really talented Roblox animation editor people. That'd be insane. But yeah. Oh yeah, the only thing I didn't explain is load. I'm pretty sure you know what load means. You know, see how we have this little animation? If I did create new, and I went to load, you can see I could just load that animation again. So yeah, let's close this. We already have our animation. Let's make this little guy wait. So, what we're gonna do is we're gonna add an animation instance thingy. So if we press the little plus icon and we type animation, you'll see, hey, there's an animation thingy. We're gonna put that inside of the rig, and remember that ID I had you copy? Paste that into animation ID. You know what? I want to torture him. Let's make this animation loop. So go back into your animation editor and just take this little thing, the little loop icon, and do publish to Roblox. Sorry, we'll just do tutorial loop. And copy that ID. I'll make him wave forever. So yeah, instead of our little animation thing, I'm going to replace that ID with the looped one. And we'll insert a script into him. Not a humanoid, a script. Not a humanoid, a script. Okay, we'll insert a script into him. Alright. I'm going to name this animation. Wave animation. Alright. So first thing you want to get. Actually, first let's make this a little bigger. I'm slurring my words. Let's make this a little bigger. Okay. Let's do... So, okay, in order to animate him, we need to get his character, and we need to get his humanoid. Humanoid is how you apply that animation. So, in our case, it's pretty simple. His character is the rig, so we do local char equals script.parent, and then we can do local for humanoid equals char find first child humanoid. Then we got to get our animation, so we'll do local animation equals, and inside of this you can see this animation inside of the character, so we can do char dot animation. And last but not least, we can do animation track, which is the animation itself. So we're going to do local animation track equals load animation and animation. See how we have this little thing with the ID? That variable, you put that in here. And now if we wanted to, we could do animation track play. And if we go into workspace, make sure this guy's not anchored. He's not anchored. All right, when we press play, this little dude should be waving like a madman. He can't stop even if he wanted to, by the way. This is his life now. He waves from my YouTube videos. That's all he does. He doesn't get paid to do it. He doesn't have a choice. This little fella has no choice. He has to wave. He waves or he gets destroyed. You don't want to be destroyed. You don't want your parent to be set to nil. Anyway, you can see it works. This little guy's waving. You did it. Now, you know how to animate. Simply. I'm going to talk about the more nitty gritty. So like, say you want to change the default character animations. What if I wanted your idol, or what if you wanted your idol to be you waving whenever you stood still? Well, you see inside of this dude, there's a little animate script, and if you press play and go to workspace and look inside of yourself, well, there is that same animation script. So let's just copy that. Let's put that inside of starter character scripts. So this will be inserted into our character when we load. So if we go and press play, you'll see that, well, you can't really tell, but this script is put inside of our player. So like we have the animation script from here. So if we go and we copy this little idle animation, like this little waving, oops, big text, and we go into our starter character scripts animation script. If you go right here, you can see there's an idle one. There's two idles technically. I believe your little animation changes, like a little look around animation. But if you just paste the wave animation for both of them and press play, you'll see that when you stand still, your character waves. And I don't know why you'd want that, but you can do it. You can also, like, since it's an animation, it has basic things like animation track stop. So if you didn't want the animation to play for a long time, we could just make it wait 5 seconds. Here, let's make it a little bit bigger. Give you a second to read this. So we'll have the animation play. We'll have it wait 5 seconds. It will stop. So our little guy will wave a little bit, and then he will stop waving. So hello, little guy. He's waving. Then he gets set. Yeah, he just stops. Unlike us, we'll wave forever. There's only a few more things I want to talk about, and I think they're pretty cool. So if we go back into our animation editor, there's a little gear icon over here, a cog. You have timeline units. You could change it from frames to, you could change it from seconds to frames. So you see 60 frames, or we can just have it in our seconds. You can change the FPS. You can change the playback speed. You can show animation events, which I'm not sure if it's enabled by default, but if it's not enabled, make sure it's enabled so you can see this little thing. Snap mode. And then these like last two things, I honestly never mess with these, so you probably shouldn't either. But if you want to, make sure you read up on the documentation before you touch those. But yeah, we're going to talk about the animation events. So say you wanted something to happen when the animation reaches here. You can see I already have an event because like I'm dumb. I was testing it out before I made the tutorial, or at least this part of it. But if you press this little icon here, you can add an animation event. So we can like name it, I don't know, explode event. And at this part of the animation, now I'm not going to save the animation and do it, but what you could do is when it reaches this point, you could go into your code, and if we remove this part, you could actually just do animation track get marker reach signal, then the name of the marker, so explode event, connect function. And now when the animation, so if you go back in here, when the animation hits this, the code in here will run. So you could actually have like program things happen in your animations. So like, you know what, I'll show you. I'll just do it. So if we publish this to Roblox, I don't know, I'm gonna name it. We copy this asset ID and we paste it into our little guy, wherever he is. Yeah, if we put it here, and we play the thing, we can have it print yada yada when it reaches that point. So when it passes that, we should get something in the console, and since it's gonna loop, we should get some prints. As you can see, whenever it reaches that point, it prints yada yada. But yeah, you can add events to your animations to make things happen during them, so you don't have to try to like time this. Imagine having a script and you were like trying to do something cool with this guy, and you have a second script that's trying to time it to happen here. You don't have to do that. You can just use the get marker reach signal. This param thing didn't do anything, but I don't know, if we wanted to make the guy disappear, we could just do char destroy. So when it reaches that event, let's put that event a little bit further. Let's put it here. It's gonna disappear mid wave. So let's watch him wave. Good. Yep, there he goes. Goodbye, buddy. I'm gonna make it wait a little bit. I kind of want to see this happen. Let's put cast wait 5 here. I'm yapping a lot in this tutorial. Okay, this little dude's gonna wave goodbye and he's just gonna be gone. But yeah, that's how you can use animation thingies. That's how you can make events, and yeah, that's great. World's greatest tutorial, I know. If you enjoyed, please subscribe. Like, please, it means a lot. People subscribe. Brush your teeth. Have a good day. Oh, one more thing. If you want to find your animations, you just go to Toolbox. You press this one. You go to My Animations, and there you go. There's all your animations, so you don't have to try to like sift through the Roblox thing. You can just have them all there. Yeah, I mean it, by the way. Brush your teeth.